Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. And I just had this battle. Top tier, tier 7 on my P43 TER. I'm really liking this tank. Actually just 2 marked it. Trying to get to 100 battles. I don't think I'm going to get 3 marked by 100 battles. Probably take me a little bit more work to do it if I wanted to do that. But we are here on Proc. And I think Proc's a great map for what I want to talk about. And what we're going to talk about is one of those, oh, fine, I'll do it kind of things, right? It's like, all right, team, fine. If I have to do everything, I'll do it. And I've hit on this subject multiple times in the past, but another great example. If you're going to get good at this game, you've got to learn how to do those kinds of things that win the game. And often it's going to fall on you. If you want to be that guy that leads the team, that helps the team win that battle, if you want to be that guy that wants to add 10% to your win rate, every 10 battles you win one more close one that you otherwise wouldn't, then these are the kind of things you need to do. So we're going to take a look at the setup. We're going to look at the map. We're going to look at the setup for the two teams. We're going to consider all the things that we would consider, and we're going to decide where we want to go. And then we're going to take a quick look at where people are going and decide whether that is a good idea or not. I like to go over to the east side up on the hill quite a bit with mediums. But let's look at this one. We're top tier in a 3-tier battle, which is a good deal. I'm in a heavium. I really like the P43. It's a lot like the E50 of tier 7. So I'm in a heavium, I'm top tier, and the rest of my team at the top are TDs. So I have to start thinking about where would I expect my team to go, and I would not expect many, if any of them, to go 5-6 line. Like I said, I like to go 0 line, but I think that that's not going to be a good idea for me today. Based on what I'm seeing, somebody's going to have to go 5-6. Also, there's only 1 scout on each side, the 820. There are 2 artillery, which is a problem, but there aren't a lot of scouts. So I feel like 5-6 is going to be a little more survivable than, say, if there were 2 or 3 scouts skimming the ridge right there and the arty bombarding me. But now let's watch as the team starts to deploy, because that's going to inform a little bit more. I don't even consider at all going 1 line and camping. As a top tier medium in this particular setup, I feel like that is not the place where you would say, fine, I will put this tank on my back and help win this, if not be one of the critical cogs in winning this. So I'm watching, and then I'm cutting off left and headed to 5-6. So as I loaded in, that's exactly what went through my mind really quickly. You saw me fading over towards the east. I'm thinking, man, I really want to go up there, but look how many guys are going that way. Half the team, just about. Even the scout is not going to the middle. And these guys are all going to go to the back on the K row, okay? On the K row. So that leaves it to you, in this case me, top tier, medium tank. I've looked at the setup, I've looked at the enemy setup, I've considered the arty, I've considered the scouts, I've considered the positions that I like to go, and I've considered the positions I know that anchor and help win a game. And check this out. The only guy going forward, for the most part, is little old me. But I'm top tier, guys. All right, there's no heavies. There's a lot of TDs that are going to be camping. I'm the top tier guy, and I say this a lot when you're playing this game. If you want to start getting good at the game and start being the effective cog, the guy who leads the team to a win, you've got to go to purple places, do purple things. You've got to be the guy willing to give it a shot. All right? So we're going to come up here, show you what I'm doing. I'm going to actually hide in the bush. So while I'm brave Sir Robin, I'm not an idiot. Well, most of the time. Most of the time. I am kind of hoping the 820 will make a mistake. It's a tier 5 scout. Hey, look, here comes the mistake. That was fantastic. Now, that's going to get me spotted, so I'm going to move. And I kind of a reflexive backup, and then I realize, you know what, I got to go forward, because I need to try to make this shot that I know is coming. There you go. A little bit more difficult for either the M44 or the Su-8. Thank goodness the Su-8 did not also shoot me at the same time. And I'll just swing around, put a couple hits on the 820. Now I'm just going to go back to the same place. Maybe not the brightest thing to do. Didn't I just say I'm not an idiot? In any event, I see a guy up on the hill, and this is why I'm here, because I can help do things like this, start taking down guys who get a little too high on that hill, and then I'm just going to back out and jump in here. We're going to be careful. You can see that the 1-2 line is getting a little braver. They're sort of scooting up a little bit. So from this middle spot, I can flex over to, it's actually that way, I can flex over to the over to the 1-2 line, and I can shoot over towards the guys that are up here. I'm going to zoom in. It does take a while for this thing to zoom. I get a bit of a lucky break right there, but I'll take it. RNG is working for me, and we'll drop another 200 on the T67. Now the A20 is getting lit. Somebody sees him, and he's going to start taking hits, and that's a great deal for us. Getting rid of that mobile scout. While the A20 is not an amazing scout, it is a scout, and he can be hard to see, and he has pretty decent, not amazing, but decent view range. That is a good deal for us because we maintain our scout. Now, I notice that we're having a bit of action over on the west side, and that's why this spot is good like that, because it can move back and forth. Look at the hill over on the east side. They got that dope. The VK didn't look, excuse me, did not look interested in going up to the top. As a matter of fact, if you notice, the T67 is running away. I take those little signs, those little pieces of SA, and add them to my kit bag, and I go, while it's not a for sure thing, there's nobody else over there, it's looking like maybe the T67 realizes that he's in trouble and he's running off, which means he probably doesn't have a lot of friends. And if you consider the fact that most of the tanks that are left are TDs, minus a KV2, which is really not running around anywhere very fast, it's probably a good bet that they're a little bit weak on that side. So now I'm going to come up here, and these guys are getting us shots, getting us spots, and we'll go ahead and take advantage. I kind of missed that shot, unfortunately. That does get me lit. But I feel like the artillery is probably fairly busy shooting the bad guys. So we'll come up here and we'll zoom in a little better. We'll drop in one on the T1. Come up here, you can see that the hill, I'm sort of keeping an eye on that. The hill is doing a nice job, and they're coming off the hill. We take some guys down. We get it to a 5-3. We get down the IKV 90B, but there's still a 100Y and a T1 heavy over there. And there's quite a few tanks that are unaccounted for that we still have to deal with. Down goes the T25-2. Now there's a piece of SA that I want you guys to take a look at, because what killed the 100M1, or sorry, the 25/2 is the 100M1. That tells me he's on the 1 line. See what I'm doing right there? Paying attention to what's dying, where it's dying, and where that puts the guy that just killed him. Now, I suppose he, the M1 could be over here. The 100M1 could be here, or maybe he was here, but unlikely. More than likely, that puts him on the 1-2 line, shooting the 25-2. So I'm going to start taking a little bit more of a risk to come up here and start working on these guys. I really don't want the JP and the Dicker Max to die, because if they do, then my position here becomes untenable. Unfortunately, the Dicker Max also dies to the 100M1, so that makes me know that he is over there. I do not know where their 25/2 is. He does have a kill. As a matter, probably, if you guys paid attention, because I missed that during the game, you might know where he is. So if you reverse this and see where he killed somebody, you might have a good idea of where he actually is. I know because I played the rest of the game. But there's a piece of SA that I probably could have gathered, but did not, because I simply just missed it. I simply just missed it. A lot of times, there's a lot of information being brought into you that you cannot process. So I'm going to go back here. I have two choices, really. I can hang out here and look for shots on guys on the 5-6 back in the back, which I'm talking about Artie maybe hanging out back here, or any tanks that are still there. Or I can come over here and start working with the JP. I don't want to do that right now, because I feel like most of these tanks are on the 1-2 line. So I don't want to go sell out while these guys are not in position. So the plan here is wait till they come in from the northeast, maybe get some lights, clean up whatever's there, and then while they establish themselves over here, I'll flex over and help with the JP. I do struggle a little bit with the gun depression here. This thing has okay gun depression. I probably needed to swing a little left. Another good idea might have been to come over here onto this side of this rock and put maybe some of these buildings and rocks in between me and these guys over here. But then we see the T1 showing up. He dies to the JP, and we find the KV2. And here's where I struggle a little bit with the gun depression. I don't want to sell out and come up and over, but I really do need to get going. And then I find that the M44, I rushed that shot, not really great. Some spotting on the KV2, which is nice. He doesn't see me because they're blind as a bat. We take the M44 down. Have to come up just a little bit more. There we go, and we'll get some nice shots on the KV2. The 100M1 has killed the JP. I put that into my information bank for use later, because I'm going to have to go over there and deal with him. Because what's happened now is our entire team is over on that side of the map, sitting over to my right over there. So somebody's got to go start getting lights, because that's actually pretty dangerous. The 101, a T25, and a T67 all stacked up in these bushes down here. Plus they could push and take out Artie, and then we have all kinds of trouble, because this is all a bunch of open area in the middle going over if they do establish themselves on the 1-2 line. So I'm going to back out initially, and I'm thinking about this, and I go, well, there goes the G1, the BDR G1B, so I'm going to have to go do this. And this is, again, another example of, all right, get on my back, team. You know, someone's got to do this. You see a lot of teams, they'll just kind of hang out in bushes or sit around and wait for the other team to come at them. But I'm going to move in here and see if I can't get a little spotting damage. I'm glad I didn't get lit there. That kind of tells me that they're not too close necessarily. So I got a P43 Hellcat. I fade way back down here, because if I come up here to peek, it's higher and I can get up into the open. If I come back here, I might be able to get into these bushes first and avoid being seen for a potato. And that's a really good thing for me. I find him and I jump on that advantage. He goes by and he's not pointing at me. I'll just shoot at him, and I'm going in. I know the 25-2 and the T67 and the artillery are probably going to be taking pot shots at me, but I've got to take the opportunity to get rid of this guy. Too good of a tank to leave around. So we get him dead, and then there he is, the 25-2. Su-8 thankfully misses. I'll just shoot him on the way, shoot at him on the way. I don't care if I hit him or not, and guess what? Got a little spotting damage. So we'll come down here, and this is again about approach. Okay, instead of just turning around and going straight at him, I'm just going to grab some cover, and I'm going to use this undulating terrain, dive into the bowl, and then maybe get down low as well, get up under these guys and try to spot him and the T67. So I'm using a better approach than just driving in. And we have all kinds of shots coming in. One of the two P43s probably would have done really well to cross. Tell you what, if I was the Hellcat or this other P43, I'd have come low and followed me up. Because these are okay shots they're getting across, but where you'd really love to be if I start lighting guys up on the other side is over here and able to sneak around and start shooting down the lane, as opposed to taking shots at hold down guys, which is the shots that they're going to get. This is the dangerous part, because I am highlighted. I'm as high as I'm going to be right there, so to speak. And then we'll just dive down here. The T67 actually got lit by the other P43 who did push in. He saw me coming. Then we find the T25-2. We light him and kill him. The T67's right there. We'll see if we can get a shot. But he lives. Surprised he didn't keep shooting me here. He may have actually backed off thinking he was going to get blind shot by those guys. Or he may have just not been bright enough to continue to shoot into a tracked guy. But I'm glad he didn't continue shooting. This is very interesting because he and I do 2 ships passing in the night. I really expected him to turtle up. But what he does is he actually runs down the 1 line down to the south. So I'm going to come up here expecting to find him in the Artie. I find the Artie. Swing over here. I see him. We'll take a shot. We get 300. Did I high roll a 300? Did I really just do that? Holy cow. All right, hold on. I didn't notice that until just now. Had I pressed 3 somewhere and I actually had HE loaded? No. I high rolled a 300. Nice. All right. All the complaining I do in game about those last kill shots not working. Pretty awesome. That was actually an AP round, and it drops 300. That is correct. Drops 300. I'm sort of expecting the T67 to be shooting me. He's not. Then I think, well, is he actually turtled up in this corner and he just didn't fire? He's trying to hide, or what's happening? No, he's not there, and we're just going to speed this up because what's funny, like I said, he went all the way down the 1 line. The Hellcat's chasing him down. I'm trying to get there as fast as possible. I'm going uphill a little bit here to get that kind of down look on him in case he's running like this, and I know the Hellcat's going to get a shot, so I just shoot one on the move and pray, but it doesn't work. So 2,525, 1,131, 3 kills. And there you go. I think there might be some blind damage in here. I can't remember. Possibly some other damage. I don't remember, but we'll see on the card. And there you have it. My thought process on something like this. You go, good job, Guido. You were top tier in a tier 7, 5, and tier 7, 6, and 5 battle. You should do well. That noted. That's true. But you've got to have the right mindset and the right plan to make that happen, especially if you want to try to make that happen a lot, so that you're running purple recents or blue recents, that kind of thing. And it gives you the thought process, because you can apply that to really any game. And if you're bottom tier, you apply the same process. You maybe just don't go lead and try to get out in people's faces. But if you're faced with this kind of game, you're top tier, analyze the two teams, you look at the map, and you go, yeah, this one's on me. This one's on me. I'm going to have to do the things that win a game. I can't go to the 1-2 line and camp. I can't go sit up on the hill and snipe. I'm going to have to be the guy that gets out there and makes it happen. Now, if you're at the skill level where you're not comfortable with that, my suggestion is try it anyway, because that's the only way you're going to learn. But if you're still not there, my next thing is don't get bent out of shape when your team loses because you didn't take the right tank to the right place. It's fine if you want to sit back and learn a little bit and try to be a little bit more careful. I got that. But you also have to accept the repercussions of decisions you make when you're the top guy and you need to be in the purple place doing purple things and you didn't. Right? So that's where we have to be honest with ourselves on breaking down our own performance right there. All right. I hope that helps some of you guys out. Again, proc is really easy, to me anyway, to illustrate this based on it has some very key positions. And this one was a very kind of straightforward idea of what I'm trying to teach here. There are other maps and situations where it's a bit more nebulous, and we cover those as we go. But sometimes I think it is effective to illustrate a very obvious example and show some very clear-cut moves from place to place. I had a very similar video to this maybe a month ago. It was the Purple Places, Purple Things video, and there was some interesting feedback on that, on saying, well, those weren't purple places or purple things. You know, you didn't do 4,000, 8,000, whatever. Well, okay, when you say that, it's not necessarily that you have a purple result, although I think this one was relatively close. It's just that you were that critical cog in the machine of winning, even if you didn't have a huge battle. There are ways to leverage wins in this game that don't have a whole lot to do with damage and spotting, although generally those correlate very heavily. There are other things you can do and places you can be and things you can do to help your team. In this case, the right place, doing the right things, and doing enough damage, quite a bit actually compared to the rest of the team. All right, guys, I hope that helped you. I hope you enjoyed what you saw right there, learned something. Let us know down below what you think. That's all I've got, and we will see you.